My friends, have you ever found yourself in the presence of someone who always has to be right, who craves attention, and who never seems to admit their faults? You try to reason with them, you try to show them the truth, but no matter what you say, they twist it, turn it, and somehow make themselves the victim. Today, I want to share something important with you. Never call out a narcissist. You see, some battles are not meant to be fought with words. Some people are not changed by confrontation, but by the wisdom of silence and the power of boundaries. Now, I know it's tempting. When someone lies, manipulates, or distorts the truth, every part of you wants to set the record straight. But listen to me. You don't have to fight every battle that comes your way. Not every confrontation will lead to resolution, and not every argument will bring about justice. So today, let's talk about wisdom over confrontation, peace over conflict, and the power of rising above. Because God did not call you to spend your days wrestling with the stubborn and the self-consumed. He called you to something greater. There is a time to speak, and there is a time to be silent. There is a time to confront, and there is a time to walk away. And when dealing with someone who thrives on control, manipulation, and self-importance, wisdom tells us that direct confrontation is often not the answer. Many people believe that if they just explain themselves clearly, if they just expose the lies, if they just point out the problem, the person will change. But my friends, a person who refuses to see their faults will never be convinced by your word. A person who thrives on deception will not suddenly embrace the truth because you speak it. A narcissist does not hear correction. They hear attack. They do not see reason. They see a threat. And what happens when a person feels threatened? They lash out. They manipulate. They twist your words. They make themselves the victim and you the villain. You may think that calling them out will make them reflect on their actions, that if you just lay out the facts, they will finally see the harm they've caused. But the truth is, a narcissist does not operate on logic and reason the way you do. They operate on control. They operate on the need to be seen as right, as superior, as above accountability. And when you try to confront them, you step into a game that is rigged in their favor. Wisdom says, do not waste your energy trying to change someone who does not want to change. Wisdom says, do not give them more fuel for their fire, because when you confront a narcissist, they do not take your words and reflect. They take your words and use them against you. They will accuse you of being the problem. They will turn the conversation into a battle where they must win at all costs. And in the end, you will walk away exhausted, frustrated, and no closer to resolution than when you began. The book of Proverbs tells us, do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. What does that mean? It means that when you argue with someone who refuses to see reason, you lower yourself to their level. It means that when you try to expose a person who is committed to their own deception, you become entangled in a web you are never meant to be caught in. Now, some may say, but isn't it my responsibility to stand up for the truth? Yes, truth matters. Yes, righteousness matters. But the truth does not always need to be shouted to be known. Sometimes the best way to show the truth is to live it, to walk in it, to let your actions speak louder than your words. When Jesus stood before those who accused him, he did not argue. He did not plead his case. He did not try to prove them wrong. He stood in silence because he knew that their hearts were already hardened against the truth. He knew that nothing he said would change their minds. And my friends, if the Son of God himself chose silence in the face of false accusations, how much more should we choose wisdom over confrontation? There is power in knowing when to walk away. There is strength in choosing peace over proving a point. There is wisdom in recognizing that not every battle is yours to fight. Some of you have spent years trying to reason with someone who will never listen. You have poured out your heart, hoping they would finally understand. You have gone in circles, trying to prove yourself, trying to make them see. But today, I want to tell you, it is not your job to fix them. It is not your burden to carry. It is not your responsibility to make them change. Instead of calling them out, set boundaries. Instead of trying to expose them, live in such a way that their deception becomes obvious to those around them. Instead of getting caught up in their games, choose to rise above. Because here's the truth, time reveals all things. The person who deceives will one day be exposed. The one who lies will one day be found out. The one who manipulates will one day be seen for who they truly are. You do not have to waste your energy trying to force that moment to come. When you choose wisdom over confrontation, you take back your power. You refuse to let them control your emotions. You refuse to let them dictate how you respond. You refuse to let them pull you into a battle that cannot be won. Instead, you walk in peace. You walk in confidence. You walk in the knowledge that you are not defined by their words, their opinions, or their manipulations. You are defined by a higher calling. You are defined by a greater truth. You are defined by the one who sees all, who knows all, and who fights your battles for you. So the next time you are tempted to call out a narcissist, ask yourself, will this bring peace, or will it bring more chaos? Will this bring resolution, or will it pull me into another cycle of frustration? Will this lead to change, or will it only drain me further? Choose wisdom, choose peace, choose to walk away with your dignity intact, and trust that in the end, the truth will always reveal itself. There are battles in life that are worth fighting, and there are battles that only serve to drain your soul. When dealing with someone who thrives on manipulation, control, and self-interest, you must understand that your greatest responsibility is not to change them, but to guard your own heart. Because if you are not careful, their ways will begin to affect you. Their words will take root in your mind. Their actions will cause you to doubt yourself. And before you know it, you are no longer walking in peace, but living in a constant state of stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. When you engage with someone who is unwilling to change, someone who twists the truth, someone who refuses to take responsibility for their actions, you are allowing them to plant seeds of confusion in your heart. And confusion is not of God. The moment you find yourself second-guessing your worth, questioning your own reality, or feeling emotionally depleted, it is a sign that your heart has been left unguarded. A narcissist does not come into your life with a sign that says, I am here to manipulate you. No, they come in with charm. They come in with confidence. They come in with promises that make you believe they are someone they are not. And slowly they begin to take control of conversations, of relationships, of emotions. They use your kindness against you. They take your empathy and turn it into a weakness. And before long, you find yourself caught in a cycle of trying to please someone who will never be satisfied. That is why you must guard your heart. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Not everyone has the right to influence your thoughts. Not everyone should be allowed to speak into your life, because when you allow the wrong voices to shape your identity, you begin to lose sight of who you truly are. Scripture tells us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That means your heart is the wellspring of your life. It is where your peace comes from. It is where your joy is rooted. It is where your sense of purpose is formed. And if you allow the wrong people to poison that well, everything else in your life will be affected. Some of you have spent years trying to make someone see your worth, trying to prove yourself to a person who only takes and never gives. You have lost sleep over their words. You have replayed conversations in your mind, wondering if you could have said something differently, wondering if maybe this time they will finally understand. But they won't. Because their goal is not to understand, you must recognize that their goal is control. The moment you stop trying to explain yourself to someone who has already made up their mind is the moment you take back your peace. The moment you stop expecting validation from someone who is incapable of giving it is the moment you set yourself free. Because your worth is not found in their approval. Your identity is not defined by their opinion. When you guard your heart, you set boundaries. You refuse to allow their negativity to take residence in your spirit. You do not engage in every argument. You do not explain yourself to someone who refuses to listen. You do not waste your energy trying to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. Instead, you protect your joy. You nurture your peace. You focus on what truly matters. That does not mean you walk in bitterness. That does not mean you carry resentment. That means you walk in wisdom. It means you recognize when a person is incapable of giving you what you deserve, and you adjust accordingly. It means you stop expecting fruit from a tree that has never borne good fruit. It means you stop trying to find water in a well that has long been dry. Some of you have been praying for peace. yet you are still allowing the wrong voices to speak into your life. You have been asking for clarity, yet you continue to engage in relationships that only bring confusion. You have been seeking healing, yet you keep opening the door to people who keep hurting you. If you want peace, you must protect it. If you want clarity, you must remove yourself from chaos. If you want healing, you must stop revisiting the places where you were broken. There comes a time when you must make a choice. Do you continue to let this person drain your spirit, or do you take a step back and reclaim your life? Do you continue to fight for validation from someone who will never give it, or do you choose to walk in the confidence that you are already enough? God did not create you to live in constant turmoil. He did not call you to spend your life trying to earn the love and approval of someone who is incapable of giving it. He called you to walk in peace. He called you to walk in freedom. He called you to guard your heart so that you can live the abundant life He has set before you. The enemy's greatest tactic is distraction. If he can keep you entangled in relationships that drain you, if he can keep you emotionally tied to people who do not value you, then he can keep you from walking in your purpose. And that is why you must guard your heart. Because when your heart is whole, you can walk in confidence. When your heart is protected, you can move forward in peace. When your heart is secure, you can hear the voice of God more clearly. So today, choose to protect your heart. Choose to let go of the need to explain yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. Choose to stop seeking love from someone who does not know how to give it. Choose to walk away from the constant cycle of manipulation, guilt, and control. Because your heart is too valuable to be placed in the hands of someone who does not cherish it. Your peace is too precious to be sacrificed for the sake of pleasing someone who will never be satisfied. Your purpose is too great to be hindered by the opinions of those who do not see your worth. Let go, walk in wisdom, and guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. There comes a time in life when words are no longer enough. When explanations, arguments, and justifications only lead to more confusion. When no matter how clearly you lay out the truth, it is met with denial, manipulation, or resistance. It is in these moments that you must recognize a powerful truth. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. Many people believe that if they can just explain themselves, if they can just make the other person see their point of view, things will change. But the reality is there are some people who are not interested in understanding. There are some who are not willing to see beyond their own perspective. And when you are dealing with someone who refuses to acknowledge their faults, words will never be enough to convince them. A narcissist does not respond to reason. They respond to power. They are not moved by heartfelt conversations. They are moved by what they stand to lose. You can pour out your heart, you can cry, you can beg them to change, but as long as they believe they still have control over you, your words will fall on deaf ears. They are not listening to understand. They are listening to manipulate. So what do you do when words fail? You stop trying to explain yourself. You stop trying to prove your worth. You stop engaging in endless debates that lead nowhere. Instead, you let your actions do the talking. When someone repeatedly disrespects you, you do not argue, you distance yourself. When someone refuses to acknowledge their wrongdoing, you do not beg for an apology. You remove yourself from their influence. When someone continues to twist your words and make you feel small, you do not try harder to gain their approval. You walk away with your dignity intact. Because here is the truth. A narcissist thrives on reaction. They feed off of your emotions. They enjoy knowing that they have the power to upset you, to make you doubt yourself, to keep you engaged in their web of manipulation. But the moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop giving them the emotional response they crave, they begin to lose control over you. Silence is powerful. Distance is powerful. Walking away without explanation is powerful. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you take back your power. When you stop defending yourself, you stop allowing them to dictate your reality. When you stop engaging in their games, you break free from their hold. Many people struggle with this because they want closure. They want the other person to acknowledge the pain they've caused. They want justice. But my friends, some people will never give you that. Some people will never admit they were wrong. Some people will never take responsibility. And if you keep waiting for an apology that will never come, you will stay trapped in a cycle of disappointment. But when you choose to act instead of argue, you set yourself free. You stop waiting for validation from someone who will never give it, and you start walking in the truth of who you are. You start making decisions that honor your peace. You start setting boundaries that protect your heart. You start living in a way that makes it clear. You will no longer tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or toxicity. Jesus himself showed us the power of action over words. When he was falsely accused, he did not waste his time arguing with those who had already made up their minds. When he was mocked, he did not fight back with words. He remained silent because he knew that his actions, his purpose, and his truth would speak for themselves. Some of you have spent years trying to convince someone of your worth. You have explained yourself over and over again, only to be met with more manipulation. But today, I want you to understand, you do not have to explain yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. You do not have to prove your worth to someone who refuses to see it. Instead of fighting to be heard, start walking in your truth. Instead of waiting for someone to change how you respond. Instead of trying to fix a relationship that only brings you pain, step back and focus on healing yourself. Your actions will speak louder than any words ever could. When you stop engaging in their drama, they will notice. When you stop explaining yourself, they will feel the shift. When you stop reacting, they will realize they no longer have power over you, and that is when true freedom begins. But hear me on this. You are not doing this to get a reaction from them. You are not doing this to make them change. You are doing this because you deserve peace. You are doing this because your energy is too valuable to be wasted on someone who does not appreciate it. You are doing this because your life is meant for greater things than endless battles with a person who will never see beyond themselves. So today, I encourage you, stop talking, stop explaining, stop arguing. Let your actions show what your words no longer need to. Walk in strength, walk in confidence, walk in the assurance that you do not need anyone's approval to be who God has called you to be. The truth will always reveal itself. The person who deceives will one day be exposed. The one who manipulates will one day lose their hold. The one who refuses to change will one day be left with only themselves to blame. But you will be free. You will be whole. You will walk away with your integrity, your dignity, and your peace. And that is far more powerful than any words you could ever speak. There is something deep within us that cries out for justice when we are wronged. When someone lies about us, manipulates us, or treats us unfairly, every part of our human nature wants to set things right. We want them to see what they've done. We want them to feel the pain they caused. We want them to face the consequences of their actions. But the path of wisdom is not the path of revenge. When we hold on to the desire for payback, when we let anger and bitterness take root in our hearts, we do not free ourselves. We chain ourselves to the very person who hurt us. We allow them to live rent-free in our minds. We replay the wrongs over and over again, wishing we could go back and say something different, wishing we could expose them, wishing they would suffer as we have suffered. Yet no amount of wishing, no amount of anger, no amount of plotting their downfall will bring us peace. Because peace does not come from seeing someone else fall. It comes from surrendering the battle to the one who fights for. It comes from understanding that justice is not always ours to carry out. It comes from realizing that strength is found, not in taking matters into our own hands, but in trusting God to handle what we cannot. When Jesus was betrayed, mocked, and crucified, he had every right to call down vengeance from heaven. He could have summoned an army of angels to destroy those who hurt him. But instead, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That is not the response of a weak man. That is the response of a man who knew where true power lies. You may be facing a situation right now where someone has wronged you in a way that seems beyond forgiveness. Maybe they spread lies about you. Maybe they used you, took advantage of your kindness, and then walked away without a second thought. Maybe they humiliated you, stole from you, betrayed your trust, and everything in you wants them to feel the weight of what they've done. But my friend, revenge will not bring you the closure you seek. If anything, it will only pull you deeper into a cycle of pain. The more you focus on how to make them suffer, the more power they have over you. They may have hurt you once, but every time you replay it, every time you let anger consume you, every time you let it steal your peace, you allow them to hurt you again and again. This is why we must pray, not for revenge, but for strength. Strength to walk away without bitterness. Strength to trust that God sees what they have done. Strength to believe that justice will come in His time, in His way. You may not see it now, but no wrongdoing goes unnoticed by God. No deception, no cruelty, no betrayal is hidden from His eyes. He knows, He sees, and He will handle it. Maybe not in the way you expect, maybe not in the time frame you desire, but rest assured, no one gets away with anything forever. Some people live their whole lives believing they can manipulate and deceive without consequence. But Scripture tells us, do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows. The seeds he has planted will one day bear fruit, whether good or bad. And that is why you do not have to waste your energy seeking revenge, because justice will come on its own. But justice is not your burden to carry. Your burden is to heal. Your burden is to move forward. Your burden is to guard your heart from becoming like the very person who hurt you. Because when you let hatred take root, when you allow bitterness to define your thoughts, when you spend your days plotting how to get back at them, you become no different from them. Instead of asking, how can I make them suffer? Ask, how can I grow from this? Instead of focusing on how unfairly you were treated, focus on how you can come out stronger, wiser, and more at peace. Instead of dwelling on what they did to you, dwell on what God is doing in you. Strength is not found in seeking revenge. It is found in walking away with your dignity intact. It is found in choosing peace over anger, wisdom over retaliation, faith over frustration. It is found in lifting your hands in surrender and saying, Lord, I release this into your hands. I trust you to deal with this, and I choose to move forward in peace. Some people will never acknowledge the pain they have caused. Some will continue to lie, to manipulate, to act as if they've done nothing wrong. But you do not need their apology to heal. You do not need their remorse to be free. Your healing is in God's hands, not theirs. Your future is in God's hands, not theirs. So today, let go of the need for revenge. Let go of the desire to see them fall. Pray for the strength to walk away, the strength to heal, the strength to trust that God's justice is far greater than anything you could ever orchestrate, because true power is not in making someone suffer. True power is in rising above. True power is in choosing to live your life in peace, knowing that no matter what they did, they do not have the final say over your destiny. God does, and He will take care of the rest. There are moments in life when the weight of betrayal, disappointment, and unfair treatment feels overwhelming. It is easy to get stuck in the pain, to let resentment build, to replay the past over and over again, wondering what could have been different. But dwelling on what has been done to you will never take you where you need to go. The only way to move forward is to rise above. Rising above does not mean pretending the hurt never happened. It does not mean ignoring the reality of the situation or acting as if everything is fine when it is not. It means choosing to not let the actions of others define you. It means deciding that their behavior, their cruelty, their manipulation, their betrayal, none of it will have the power to keep you stuck. Some people live their entire lives trapped in the pain of what others have done to them. They rehearse every wrong, every insult, every moment of rejection, allowing those memories to dictate how they see themselves and the world around them. But you were not created to live in the shadows of what others have done. You were created to rise, to heal, to step into the future that is waiting for you. There are always going to be people who misunderstand you, who mistreat you, who refuse to see your worth. That is not a reflection of you. That is a reflection of them. When you internalize their actions, when you start to believe that their words define you, you give them more power than they ever deserved. But when you make the choice to rise above, you take back control. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You do not have to keep proving your worth to someone who refuses to see it. The moment you stop looking for validation in places that will never give it, the moment you stop allowing toxic people to control your emotions, you set yourself free. Moving forward does not mean you ignore what happened. It means you refuse to let it hold you hostage. There will be moments when the hurt resurfaces, when you feel the weight of what was done to you, when you are tempted to go back to that place of anger and frustration. But in those moments, remind yourself that your future is too important to be tied to the past. Every time you choose to rise above, every time you choose to keep going instead of staying stuck, you are reclaiming your peace. Some of you have spent too much time waiting for closure, waiting for an apology that may never come, waiting for the people who hurt you to finally understand what they did. But the truth is, you do not need closure from them. You need closure from yourself. Closure comes when you decide that their actions will no longer have power over you. Closure comes when you choose to walk away, not because they made it right, but because you are choosing peace over pain. Forgiveness is not about excusing what they did. It is not about pretending it did not hurt. It is about releasing the weight of it so that it does not control your life. When you hold on to bitterness, when you carry resentment, the only person it truly hurts is you. The longer you let anger take root in your heart, the more it robs you of your joy, your energy, your ability to live fully in the present. But when you let go, when you choose to rise above, you open yourself up to healing. There is a future waiting for you, but you cannot step into it while holding on to the weight of the past. You cannot walk into new blessings if your hands are still full of old wounds. Some doors will never open until you let go of what is behind you. Some opportunities will never come until you decide that what is ahead is more important than what is behind. People who tried to break you do not get to define you. People who lied about you do not get to write your story. People who underestimated you do not get to decide your worth. You are more than what they did to you. You are more than the pain they caused. You are more than the struggles you have faced. And when you choose to rise, when you choose to move forward, you show them and yourself that their actions were never greater than your purpose. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on bitterness. Your time is too precious to be spent on people who do not appreciate you. Your future is too important to be weighed down by the past. You may not have control over what they did, but you do have control over how you respond. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. You can stay stuck in anger, or you can choose to rise above. You can let their actions define your future, or you can walk forward knowing that nothing they did can stop what God has for you. Every day is a choice. A choice to stay stuck or a choice to move forward. A choice to let the past dictate your future or a choice to rise above it. A choice to let their words control your self-worth or a choice to believe in the truth of who you are. You are not meant to live in the past. You are not meant to be weighed down by anger and resentment. You are meant to rise. You are meant to move forward. You are meant to live in peace and joy and purpose. So today, make the decision. Choose to let go of what is behind. Choose to release the weight of what was done to you. Choose to rise above the drama, the betrayal, the injustice. Choose to walk forward with strength, with confidence, with faith. Because the best way to show them they did not break you is to keep moving forward. The best way to prove that their actions did not define you is to rise above. The best way to reclaim your power is to live fully, freely, and fearlessly. Rise above, keep moving, and never let what they did keep you from where you are meant to be.